Hello students. In last period we studied the gametogenesis, that is of spermatogenesis, and analysis of oogenesis. Now next topic is of structure of ovum. Structure of ovum. Normally ovum is surrounded by the layer, two layers. Outer layer, that is corona radiata. Outer layer corona radiata, and inside that layer known as zona pellucida. This is corona radiata, and this one is of zona pellucida. Inside the zona pellucida, a layer is that this is the plasma membrane, or we can say ulema. Ulema. Normally, this egg cell is uh, larger than other human cells. It is larger than other human cell. It contains nucleus with clear nucleolus, and its cytoplasm is known as ooplasm. Ooplasm. This is the main structure of the ovum. Then to next is of fertilization. Fertilization, that is fusion of male and female gametes. That is the fertilization. Male and female gametes known as fertilization. The site of fertilization, where fertilization, that is ampulla stigmatic junction. In the fallopian tubes, that where ampulla and isthmus is joined together, that place is the site of fertilization. After spermiation, after the mating of male and female, that male release sperm inside the female genital tract. That process is known as spermiation. The releasing of sperm inside the female genital tract, that process is known as spermiation, and male release about 200 to 400 millions sperm inside the female genital tract. Out of that, 100 millions sperm reaches to the fallopian tubes. 100 million spores reaches to the fallopian tubes, and these 200 to 400 million sperms contain in 3 ml of semen. That the 3 ml of semen that contain 200 to 400 millions of sperm, and out of these 200 or 400 million sperm, that 100 million sperms reaches towards the fallopian tubes. They are doing their own efforts to reach the site of fertilization. They swim by 1.5 to 3 mm, 1.5 to 3 mm distance in per minute. 1.5 to 3 mm distance in per minute by the swimming, and reaches the site of fertilization. That sperm can survive in the female genital tract up to 12 hours to 24 hours. The sperm can viable in the female genital tract up to 12 hours to 72 hours, and ovum survive after the 72 hours, after the ovulation of 72 hours, that ovum can survive. But the fertilization is required within the 24 hours. If within 24 hours, after the ovulation of 24 hours, the fertilization is not there, that ovum will not survive and fertilization will not take place. At the time of fertilization, that acrosome enter the inside of eggs, and when it enters inside the eggs, that egg form another protecting layers to prevent the entry of other eggs, to prevent the entry of other sperms, so that only one sperm can enter inside the eggs, other nodes. And just before the entry, the second meiotic division will completed and second polar body is formed, and that process is known as fertilization. That is the process of fertilization. Each zygote contain, that is 44 autosome and 2 sex chromosomes, and which determine the sex of future ones, that is 46 44 XX or 44 XY. If this position is there, that produce females, 44 XX is there, and if this condition is there, that produce males, 44 XY. So the sex is depend upon that chromosomes. Now, just after the fertilization, division start in the zygote, and that is known as cleavage. Division starts in the zygote, that is known as cleavage. This is the zygote. This is diploid nucleus. First division is there, and which is occur after fertilization within 30 hours. Within 30 hours, first division is there. And in human beings, the holoblastic division is there. Holoblastic means, suppose this is the cell. If the cell divide like this, that is not holoblastic, that is eublastic. If the cell divides completely into two parts like this, that is known as holoblastic division. So inside the human being, holoblastic division is there, and division start just after the fertilization inside the fallopian tubes. Holoblastic division there, and it forms two cell states. Two cell states. Still, it covered by the zona pellucida layer. The outer layer is zona pellucida, and it covered by zona pellucida layer. Here, two cells is formed. That is two cell states. First cell is vertical division. Then after, next division occurs just after the 60 hours of fertilization, which form four cell states. That is the four cell. First vertical, second one is transverse division, and this is again a zona pellucida layer. Then next division is there, due to which eight cell will formed, and this is these cells are known as blastomeres, and it is the morula stage. Morula stage, we can say early morula. In morula, that is 16 to 32 cell is there, and these cells are known as blastomeres. Blastomeres, and this is the morula stage. Still, that egg is covered by the, or we can say zygote, fertilized egg or zygote is covered by zona pellucida. Still, it's covered by zona pellucida. Inside that, embryonic mass is present, and that is blastomeres. Which, and this stage is of morula, which contains 16 to 32 cells. This morula stage reaches towards the uterus within 3 to 5 days after the fertilization, and after that it will be attached with the uterine wall. Morula stays converted into blastocyst, and inside the blastocyst, outer layer of the blastocyst, this is the small cells which is cover the blastocyst. This is outer layer, and inner mass which contain large cells. And this one is of zona pellucida. These zona pellucida cells are absorbed by the nutritive substance from the uterus wall. This wall absorbs the nutritive substance from the uterine mucous membrane and filled inside the cavity of blastocyst. And these cells will be apart from each other. Now the zona pellucida will be absorbed, and this outer layer is known as trophoblast. And other cells will be aggregate towards the one end of embryo. This is known as embryonic knob. This is known as embryonic knob, and this is the blastocyst. Blastocyst, embryonic knob, and we can say this is embryonic pole, and opposite pole is abembryonic pole. Embryonic pole and opposite pole is known as abembryonic pole. And the next step or next process is known as implantation. Implantation, that is attachment of zygote inside the uterus. That process is known as implantation. Blastocyst having more than, this is the blastocyst is having more than 100 cells. More than 100 cells, and its lobe of the blastocyst present against the uterine membrane, and it releases some nutritive substance. Means this membrane releases some nutritive substance or some enzymes which dissolve the wall of uterus. Suppose this is the uterus wall, and this is blastocyst. It releases some enzymes. Due to lysis of these enzymes, it will be these dissolve and form a pit-like structure, and it will be embedded inside them and surround it. And this attachment is known as implantation. Any attachment of zygote inside the uterine wall, that process is known as implantation. Here, from here, that all the substance which is required for the zygote that receive from the mother's womb, and with different excretory substance which is found inside the zygote and embryo, that will be transported to the mother's wombs. This process is known as implantation, and This is attached with the mother's wall with the help of one connection that is known as placenta. The placenta is connection between mother's uterus embryo, mother's uterus wall and embryo, that is known as placenta. After that, different processes occur or development occur inside the embryo due to cellular movement is there, especially three cellular movement is there, and due to three cellular movement, that three germ layer is formed. Three germ layer is formed, that is ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. Due to movement of cells or three movement of cells, that different layer is formed, that is known as, these three layers are ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. And these three different layer is the future of different organs in the human beings. Like from the ectoderms, it produce epidermis of skin, pituitary glands, eyes, internal ear, salivary gland, etc. And from the next layer, that is of mesoderm, different organ is formed, that is dermis of skin, connective tissue, most connective tissue, adrenal glands, gonads, reproductive tracts, heart, blood vessels, and lymph vessels. These are another organs formed from the mesoderms. And another is of endoderms or endoderm. This is the innermost layer. It forms liver, pancreas, urinary bladder, middle ear, prostate gland, etc. So these are the three layers which is present in the embryo, and they are form the different types of organs and organ system in the human beings.